You took care of me, oh so easily. Some adrenaline is gonna set me free. I know it's time to feel the rush, so just leave me alone. Right on my own, I want you to cry.
Hello and welcome. This is Train Simulator 2018 and this is the Railworks Austria Skyhook Games Wiesel Package. This is an early beta version of this package. I believe beta testing has only just started. If you see anything you think is not quite right, let me know. I'll pass it on to the developers. Now this package is huge. There is so much we have to go through. So let's jump right in. What's included? So well, first of all we have of course the Wiesel carriages, which are double-decker carriages by the Austrian ÖBB. We have 4 liveries included and of course a fully functional cab car. We'll look at that a bit later. So the 4 liveries are, we have the Wiesel livery, which you see here, a bit dirty. We have the Wiesel livery again, this time nice and clean. And then we have the standard ÖBB livery, again dirty and nice and clean. Carriages and cab cars are all well and good, but what we really need is a loco to push or pull the whole thing. And for that we have the 1144 series, and there are no less than 6 different versions included. And when I say versions, I do mean versions. These are not just liveries. So each of these locos has a different external model, a different cab, and a completely different sound set. For example, this loco here has silencers and they sound very different from these low-level fans here, which again sound different to these high-level fans here. This product comes with lots of different features, so I'm gonna try and go through them as fast as I possibly can. The Wiesel package is compatible with all Railworks Austria locos. This means if you own the 1014 or for example the Railjet Advanced, you should be able to hook on any of these locos to the back and the cab car will be able to communicate with them. Future products such as the 1142 should be compatible as well. The doors on the Wiesel carriages are actually passenger operated and this has been simulated. So when you arrive at the train station you simply unlock the doors and they will open and close randomly. Once it is time to depart, the doors will close automatically and all you need to do is lock them and you're ready to depart. Unsurprisingly, blinds and mirrors are animated. In the cab car it's as usual by pressing M, but in the 1144 it's hands-on. You need to open the window and click on the mirror to manually fold and unfold it. By default, the 1144 loco will always start a scenario in a cold and dark state. However, if you are a scenario creator, you can change that. By typing in the word ready into the flyout window, the loco will start the scenario in a fully loaded up state. Included in the package are also 2 triggers for scenarios, which will either trigger an emergency brake or simulate an engine failure. Before you set off, you can actually change the brake modes. This will influence how fast the brakes are applied and released. By pressing Ctrl, Shift and Add, you can change between brake mode R and G for passenger trains and for freight trains. To reverse an 1144, you need to use an auxiliary driving switch, which is a small knob located in the cab. This has been simulated. Unfortunately, it's a rather cumbersome and complicated procedure. If you want my advice, if you need to reverse, simply switch the cabs. Okay, I will now show you how to start up the 1144 series. There is an automatic startup procedure available if you want to do so. By pressing Ctrl, Shift and Z, everything you will see now will be done automatically. However, I think we'll just do it ourselves. So the first thing we need to do is look at the pantograph switch here and we'll press on this click spot. That means we've just inserted a key which we need to rotate, and now the cab is unlocked. Next we need to switch on the battery. To do so, simply press Shift and B. We now need to wait a few seconds. There we go, the battery is now on. With the loco powered up, we can now raise the pantograph. We go back to the pantograph switch and simply erase the pantograph. Wait a few seconds, and once you can read that you have current here, you can switch on the main switch. Whilst the loco is getting ready, you can actually switch on the instrument lights and, if you want to, the cab lights. Another thing we can do is switch on the headlights. You can do so by just pressing H if you want to. Finally, we need to tell the loco our target speed. We do this with the speed limiter, which is the red triangle here on the speedometer. You can move it by pressing Y and C. So Y moves up and C moves it down. Target speed here is 40 kilometers per hour, so I'm gonna just set that up. And now we are pretty much ready to go. The last thing we need to do is make sure all brakes are released. So the loco brake here is not released. Make sure this is released. And you can see a light flashing here saying that the parking brake is still on. Just press the slash key and the parking brake is off. And we are now ready to go. Okay, so now we've started up the locomotive, it is time to get going. Right, before we do that, I'm going to tell you one very important thing. This panel here is your best friend. You need to pay very close attention to what's going on here, otherwise this is going to be rather frustrating. For this tutorial, I'm only going to switch off CFAR and I'm going to switch off PCB so we can concentrate on driving. So we've just completed the startup procedure, all brakes are released, I've set the speed to 40 kilometers per hour. Now to set off, I'm actually going to bring the HUD up. You can see our power lever is in a neutral position. Now what you need to do is put it one notch forward and wait until this light has come on. It says Leistung. And now, and only now, are you able to drive off. Now the power lever here is a combined power and electrodynamic brake lever. So what happens is, if we want to slow down again, you need to put the lever back into 0. Wait till the light has gone out, move it one notch backwards, and wait till this light has come on, which means electrodynamic braking, and now you can start braking using the engine. Coasting, best thing to do is put it into a neutral position and then maybe already select what you want to do next, drive off or slow down. Every time you apply the train brake, an additional light will come on here telling you that one of the pneumatic brakes has been engaged. As long as this light is on, you are unable to drive. And that is pretty much it. You can adjust the speed now by simply moving the speed limiter up and down. So we are now accelerating to 60. As you can see, the loco is now holding that speed, and we're going to make our way now to Austria. We are now approaching a train station where we need to stop. I'm just going to use the train brakes for this. They're pretty good. We can see another Wiesel train on the other side of the platform waiting for us. So I'm just going to bring the train to a stop. I've activated the manual door control by pressing Ctrl, Shift and T. So as the train comes to a halt, simply press T as you would usually, and it will automatically unlock the doors on the correct side. An orange light will come on to warn you. As long as this is on, you are not able to drive. If we look outside, you will see the doors opening and closing randomly as passengers board and deboard the train. Okay, it is time to depart. What you need to do now is move this lever into the locked position, which is this one here. You'll have to wait a few seconds for all the doors to close and lock itself. A blue light comes on telling you that you are now ready to depart. Once again, make sure all brakes are released. Move the power lever one notch forward and then you can go. And that's it. So it's not really difficult, it's just a bit different, but I actually really enjoy it. It's good fun. Right, and we are now in the cab car. The cab car actually always starts in a fully loaded up configuration. So you just need to jump in and do a few bits and bobs and then we're ready to go. So the first thing I always do is switch on the instrument lights, and maybe the cab lights is quite dark. Since this is a tutorial, I'm just gonna switch off the CIFA and the PZB so we don't get disturbed by that. So really the only thing to do here is to make sure the headlights are on. So again, press H. If you want to, you can switch off the manual door system by pressing Ctrl Shift T. I'll do that. And then, well, it's just a matter of making sure all the brakes are released, which seems to be the case. Set the speed limiter to the correct speed. So here it's 30 kilometers per hour. So let me do that. And then we should be ready to go. Okay, so how do we drive the cab car? Well, if you own the 1014, you are actually going to be very familiar with this. So the first thing we need to do is move the power lever into position F, and that will essentially hold the power that we've selected. Now we haven't selected any power yet, so obviously there's nothing. So to add power we go on plus, and remember that there's going to be a delay, so I'm already going to go back to F. There we go, power comes on, and because I'm back on F, it's going to hold this power now, so about 100 kilonewton, which is about right for pulling off. So train's now going to accelerate to 30 kilometers per hour and then hold that speed, because that's what we've set with the speed limiter. There we are, 30, and the train will hold just that. Okay, we can now accelerate to 50, so all I do is move the speed limiter to 50, you can see it here, and the train will power up. Note that we will only have the power available that we've selected before, which is 100 kilonewton. So if you want to accelerate faster, you need to move the power lever to plus to add some more power. And that is essentially how you drive. So you add power by going to plus. So now I'm going to add some power here. You hold power by pressing F. And if you want to reduce power, you go to 0, and you can watch the needle going back down. The same applies for the electrodynamic brake. So if you want to slow down, you move to EB and then to plus, and that will add electrodynamic braking. There we go. Once we have the power we want, we hold that power on EB. Power output again is shown here, and the speed is now reducing. If you want to stop the braking, easiest thing to do, just go to 0, and you can see the needle moving back to the neutral position. The train brake actually works in a similar fashion. We have this lever here, which will always revert to the neutral position. So what you do is you add braking power, and as you let go, it will snap back and it will hold that exact braking power. So I'll just keep that button pressed, add power, let go, and it will just hold that power. brake a bit less. I'll just move it the other way and then let it snap back, and it will hold that braking power. So if we add a bit more, and we can bring the train to a stop. And that is how you drive the cab car. So it's not that difficult, just a bit different really. You just select the power you want and the cab car will hold that power. Whilst you're driving online, I would recommend using the speed limiter. Takes away a lot of the workload. Yeah, and that's it. So that is the Railworks Austria Skyhook Games Wiesel Package. Now I think this is actually a really nice product. It's huge, it's got loads of content and lots of functionality and lots of nice features. But to be honest with you, the thing I like the most is actually the sound. The sound set is amazing. Each loco just sounds a little bit different and has its own quirks. And even the carriages, you can hear the air conditioning units working and everything. I'm going to show you a few pieces of footage, so just put up your speakers and listen carefully. Okay, and that is it. A bit of a longer video, but I mean, there's lots to show here. So yeah, I hope you found this informative and helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.